You know that moment you say, "Must be nice," instead of asking for help, and they miss it, so you feel angry and unseen? In the next minute, I'll give you one sentence that stops the hinting on the spot. And later, we'll take it into that late-night phone-in-bed moment where one small comment can start a 2-day Cold War. Ready? You're in the kitchen after work, one shoe still on, the fridge door open, and the trash is overflowing again. You don't want to fight, so you go light, you go casual, you go indirect. Wow, the trash is really living its best life, and you wait for them to notice, rescue you, and prove they care. They don't. They keep scrolling. And your chest tightens like you just got disrespected on purpose. You keep hinting instead of asking. Here's the interruption you used today, exactly as written. Hey, can I make a clear request instead of hinting? Say it once. Don't explain it. Don't apologize for it. And notice what happens in the next 10 minutes. Your shoulders drop because you're not performing anymore, your voice steadies because you're no longer gambling on mind reading, and the room gets simpler because you stopped sending signals and started speaking. Educational content inspired by classical Stoic texts. Not medical, psychological, financial, or legal advice. This won't rush you, but it will keep you from spiraling. Because the pain is never communication. The pain is this: you hint, they miss it, and you feel angry and unseen. You start stacking invisible evidence: who noticed what, who initiated what, who carried what, and you treat your growing resentment like it's the truth. Then you punish them in small, deniable ways: tone, silence, sarcasm, delayed affection, forgetting to do a favor. And you tell yourself you're being fair because you already said something. But you didn't say it. You implied it. You leaked it. You tried to be understood without risking a direct ask. And that cost is real. This is costing you warmth. It's costing you teamwork. It's costing you the calm confidence of knowing you showed up clean. Hinting makes you feel safer in the moment, but it keeps your nervous system activated because you never actually made a request that can be answered. So you stay in limbo. You stay in the fog. You stay in that exhausting place where you're upset, but you can't prove you communicated. And when you can't prove it, you argue harder, because part of you is trying to win back the dignity you lost by not speaking plainly. Here's what you're getting out of this, concretely. You're going to replace hints with one clear request structure you can use in a real moment. You're going to reduce conflict and improve cooperation because you'll stop making the other person decode your mood. And you're going to feel calmer, not because you got your way every time, but because you communicated cleanly, which means you don't have to keep running a secret investigation in your head. If this helps, subscribe, because the next time life tightens, you'll want another clean tool ready. Subscribe for more Stoic Focus Lab. First, you'll catch the exact moment you start hinting and switch to a single sentence that turns it into a request. Next, you'll learn how to ask without sounding needy or aggressive, so the other person can actually respond instead of defend. Then you'll handle the most dangerous part, what you do when they hesitate or say no, without sliding into punishment. Finally, you'll run into a real, messy scene where your old habit almost wins and you'll feel what it's like to stay steady anyway. And later, I'm going to bring you into a pressure moment, late night, both of you tired, the smallest tone could light the fuse, where you'll be tempted to teach them a lesson with silence, and you'll see how to stay clean without surrendering your needs. It's 6:43 p.m. on a weekday. You're stepping into the house with that specific tiredness that makes everything feel louder: the keys, the microwave beep, the dog pacing, and the notifications. You see the sink. You see the laundry basket. You see the trash can packed tight like someone dared it to overflow. And you feel the first spark of course I'm the one who sees this. That's the moment you usually start hinting. Not because you don't know what you want, but because asking feels exposed. Asking feels like you're admitting you need something. Hinting lets you keep your pride. Hinting lets you pretend you're above it. Hinting lets you say, later, I shouldn't have to ask. And for a second, that story feels like strength. But here's the early payoff: you don't need strength. You need a sentence. Microscript, verbatim: can you take the trash out in the next 10 minutes? That's it. Action plus time window. Now, why it works: simple, embodied, no jargon. Hinting keeps your body tense because it creates an unsolved problem. Your brain stays on alert because you're waiting for them to notice, interpret correctly, and respond the way you hoped. That's 3 layers of uncertainty. It's like tossing a paper airplane across the room and getting mad that it didn't land exactly in someone's hand. A clear request closes the loop. It gives the other person a target they can hit. It also gives you a clean reality: yes, no, later, or a counteroffer. And even a no is calmer than the fog, because at least it's real. Here's the friction point in North America: you're afraid a direct request will sound like a parent talking to a child. You're afraid it will kill romance. You're afraid you'll be seen as controlling. That fear pushes you into a softer approach: tone, sigh, must be nice, pointed silence. But notice the irony: hinting is actually more controlling, because it tries to move the other person without giving them a clear choice. It's pressure without clarity. It's a test they never agreed to take. Now a real example with friction. You're cooking and cleaning at the same time, chopping, stirring, wiping, while they sit. You feel the heat rising, and you do the subtle thing: you slam a cabinet a little too hard, you narrate your workload: "I've been on my feet all day," and you wait. They glance up and say, "Do you want help?" You say, "No, I got it," because your hint was never actually about help. It was about being seen. Then you feel even more invisible, because now you refused the help and still didn't get the appreciation. So try a clearer version that handles both needs, help and being seen, without a speech. "Can you wash these dishes while I finish cooking? And also, thank you for jumping in. I'm feeling stretched." That second sentence isn't manipulation. It's a simple truth. It gives the other person context without blame. Another North American example: you're heading to a family gathering. You're anxious because you know someone will push boundaries: money questions, job questions, kid questions. You want your partner to back you up. So you hint on the drive: "Hopefully your mom doesn't start." You glance. You say it like a joke. They nod like they heard the weather. Later, your partner stays quiet while the questions pile up, and you feel betrayed. In your mind, you told them. Try this instead: clean and specific. If your mom starts asking about our finances, can you redirect it and say, "We're good, let's talk about something else"? Notice the difference. You're not hoping. You're recruiting. Tiny action, measurable today. Pick one recurring hint you do. Just one. The biggest one. The one that creates the most resentment per week. Then write a single sentence that includes 1. the action and 2. the time window. Put it in your notes app. Example: can you handle bedtime tonight at 8:30? Or, can you call the plumber by noon tomorrow? Or, can you put your phone away for 10 minutes so we can talk? Slow practice moment: brief, say your sentence out loud right now like you're practicing a free throw. Calm tone. Neutral face. No edge. Can you take the trash out in the next 10 minutes? Then pause for 2 seconds after you say it. Let it land. Most hints fail because you keep talking. You add sarcasm, you add history, and you add a verdict. That destroys the clarity you just created. Forward pull: why this matters later. Every time you ask cleanly, you prevent resentment from storing up like pressure in a pipe. Later, when life hits hard, money stress, family stress, health stress, you'll either have a relationship that runs on clarity or one that runs on hidden tests. Clean requests now are the diff. Rinse. It's 9:58 p.m. You're both in bed. The room is dark, but not peaceful, just quiet enough that every thought feels louder. They're on their phone. You want closeness. You want attention. You want that simple feeling of we're together instead of we're parallel. But you don't want to beg. You don't want to look needy. So your body starts doing the talking. You sigh, you roll over, and you pull the blanket tight like you're punishing the air. And when they ask, "What's wrong?" you say, "Nothing," with a tone that means everything. Short tense story first: You turn away, they keep scrolling, and you can feel yourself becoming colder by the minute. The old strategy is loading. If you withdraw enough, they'll chase. If they don't chase, you'll be justified. If you're justified, you can be angry without feeling vulnerable. That's the loop. That's the mistake. The mistake is pretending you don't have a need while still demanding the other person meet it. Introduce the correction, verbatim script. I want 10 minutes of us time, no phones. Are you up for that tonight? That sentence is direct without being aggressive. It's clear without being a lecture. And it gives them an honest yes/no choice, which is the only way to get a real yes. Why it works: a hint is a trap. A hint creates two conversations at once: the conversation you're pretending to have, I'm fine, and the conversation you're actually having, you're failing a test. That split makes you tense because you're lying a little, and your body knows it. A clear request collapses it into one conversation. Your nervous system relaxes because you're congruent. What you feel matches what you say. Marcus Aurelius would call this part of being aligned, choosing a clean action over emotional theater. Now, North American friction. You might think, if I have to ask for attention, it doesn't count. That's a romantic myth that feels true when you're hurt. But in adult life, most closeness is coordinated. You coordinate dinner. You coordinate travel. You coordinate finances. You coordinate schedules. Why would emotional connection be the only thing that must happen by telepathy? In real relationships, people need bids. They need cues. They need directness, especially when they're stressed. Here's another tense example with conflict baked in. You've been carrying more than usual: work stress, family obligations, and mental load. You want appreciation. You want to feel seen. So you hint with sarcasm, must be nice to relax, when they sit down. They hear judgment and defend themselves, I worked all day too. Now you're fighting about who is tired instead of what you actually needed, which was recognition and a small shift in teamwork. Try this correction: ask for the need, not the verdict. I'm feeling stretched. Can you tell me one thing you appreciate that I've been doing lately? Or, if you need action, I'm overwhelmed. Can you take one thing off my plate tonight? Tiny action: in the next 48 hours, replace "it's fine" one time. Just one time. Choose one of these and say it clean. Option A: it's not fine, I want connection. Can we talk for 5 minutes? Option B: I'm not okay, can you help me with this tonight? Option C: I'm feeling unseen. Can you check in with me for a minute? Pattern interrupt. Before you speak, do one breath like a reset button: slow inhale through the nose, longer exhale through the mouth. On the exhale, drop your shoulders and unclench your tongue from the roof of your mouth. This is practical. It removes the edge that turns a request into a jab. The words matter, but your tone is the delivery system. Forward pull line. You're building a relationship where needs become requests instead of weapons. Later, when you have to talk about something bigger, money, trust, and boundaries, you won't start with fog and end with a fight. You'll start with clarity and stay closer to the truth. You've probably been living under this false belief: if I ask directly, I'll sound needy or controlling. So you choose the safer route, hinting, because it lets you keep your pride intact. But here's the myth bust: hinting is not safer. Hinting is a slower conflict. Hinting is a delayed argument. It's the kind of conflict that spreads into everything: tone, chores, intimacy, respect, because nothing is ever named cleanly. Clear instruction with stakes: stop sending your request through mood. Send it through words. Because if you keep using mood as a messenger, your partner will keep responding to your mood instead of your need. They'll defend against your tone instead of meeting your request. And you'll feel even more unseen, because now the argument is about how you said it, not what you needed. Here's the script, verbatim. When you catch yourself about to hint, pause. I'm about to give a hint. Let me ask clearly, can you ____? This sentence does something powerful. It tells the truth about your impulse without blaming them. It also interrupts the old pattern before it becomes sarcasm or silence. Now a North American example under pressure. You're at the grocery store on a Saturday afternoon. The place is crowded. Everyone looks stressed. The cart is full. You're doing mental math. You're trying to remember what you already have at home. Your partner is drifting, looking at snacks like they're on a field trip. You want help, but you don't want to nag in public, so you start signaling, quick movements, sharp pauses, short answers. You're hoping they'll feel your stress and jump in. They don't. They ask, "What's your problem?" Now you're in a public argument that started because you refused to say the simple thing. Use the script, pause. I'm about to give a hint. Let me ask clearly, can you grab the eggs, dish soap, and coffee while I check out? That's a role. People respond well to roles. It turns them from a bystander into a teammate. Another pressure example, you're leaving for the airport. Time is tight. You notice they haven't packed something important, passport, charger, and meds. You feel panic because if you're late, the whole day collapses. So you hint with a loaded question, "Do you have everything?" with a tone that means, you never have everything. They get defensive. Now you're late in fighting. Correction, we're leaving at 10. Can you double-check your passport and charger right now? It's not a verdict on their character. It's a time-based request. Now the more sensitive pressure example, you need them to stop doing something that makes you feel disrespected, interrupting you, leaving you alone at events, spending too much time on their phone when you're talking. Hinting here turns poisonous fast because you start using tone as punishment. The correction isn't to be harsh. It's to be specific. Script, when I'm talking and you look at your phone, I feel dismissed. Can you put it down until I'm finished? That's clear. It names the behavior, the impact, and the request. No character assassination. No you always. Just reality. Slow practice moment. Place your hand lightly on your chest for 2 seconds before you speak, not to be dramatic, but to steady yourself. Then practice the first clause calmly, pause. I'm about to hint. Say it slowly. If you can say that part calmly, the rest will follow. Now tease the vignette without promising closure. There's a moment where you do all of this right, you ask clearly, you stay calm, and they still hesitate. That's when your old habit will try to reclaim control through punishment. You'll want to go cold. You'll want to withdraw affection. And you'll tell yourself its boundaries. In the next section, you'll see how to hold your dignity without turning your pain into a weapon. It's a weeknight. You're both home, but the house feels like two separate worlds sharing the same Wi-Fi. You can hear the dishwasher hum, the TV in the other room, the little taps of someone scrolling. You're tired in your bones. You've been holding it together all day. And now the smallest thing, one more plate in the sink, one more unanswered question, one more moment of being ignored, feels like proof that you're alone in this. Mythbust first, if I withdraw, they'll finally understand. Sometimes withdrawal works in movies because it forces the other character into a dramatic realization. In real life, withdrawal usually creates confusion and defensiveness. They don't experience your silence as a lesson. They experience it as emotional weather they can't predict. And you experience it as power, right until it turns into loneliness. Clear instruction plus stakes. If you want cooperation, stop trying to teach lessons through mood. Ask, then follow up cleanly. The stakes are your long-term trust. When you punish after hinting, you teach the relationship that needs are dangerous. You teach both of you to hide. You teach both of you to walk on eggshells. Script, verbatim, when they hesitate or delay, okay. What time can you do it? Give me a real time. That sentence is respectful and firm. It doesn't beg. It doesn't rage. It turns vague promises into a plan. Now an NA example under pressure. You ask, can you handle bedtime tonight at 8:30? They say, yeah, in a minute. In a minute is where resentment grows. Because in a minute can mean 10 minutes or never. Your old habit is to let it slide, feel angry, and then punish them later with coldness, because now you're right. Instead, follow up cleanly. Okay, 8:30 is in 20 minutes. Are you starting then? Or, I need real time. 8:30 or 9 o'clock? Another pressure example, you asked for connection, can we talk for 10 minutes? They say, not now. Your old habit is to make not now mean not you, then you go cold. But the correction is to stay with facts and ask for a concrete alternative. Okay. When is a better time, tonight at 9:30 or tomorrow after dinner? This keeps you out of the mind-reading trap. Slow practice moment, say the follow-up line without edge, like you're confirming a calendar invite. What time works? Give me real time. Notice how much power is in calm firmness. You're not asking for permission to exist. You're coordinating. And now the tease, you're about to step into a scene where you ask for help, they delay, and your body will beg you to punish. You'll feel the old story, they don't care unless I get a cold. You're going to learn how to stay warm and still be firm. Not perfect. UST cleaner. It's 8:57 p.m. You're both exhausted. The day was heavy. Work ran long. Someone in the family called with drama. The house is messy in that specific way that makes you feel like you can't breathe fully. You're hungry, but not hungry enough to cook. You want help, but you also want peace. And you can feel the old pattern warming up like an engine. Hint, get missed, feel unseen, punished. You start to get stressed. You walk into the kitchen and see the sink. You see the trash. You see the laundry pile. You see your partner on the couch. The first words that rise are not words. They're a sigh. They're a sharp exhale. They're the beginning of a performance. And you catch it. You use the interruption, hey, can I make a clear request instead of hinting? You say it once. You keep your voice calm. You don't stack it with blame. And that alone shifts your body from fight mode to problem-solving mode, because you just told the truth without attacking. Then you choose one request, not 10. Action plus time window. Can you take the trash out in the next 10 minutes? Not because you never, not I always, not it's ridiculous. Just ask. They say, yeah, in a bit. And here it is, the moment where the old reaction almost wins. Your chest tightens. Your brain whispers, see? You have to hint harder. You have to get colder. Otherwise nothing happens. You feel the urge to punish, to go silent, to slam a cabinet, to do it yourself aggressively so they can watch you suffer. Instead, you apply the follow-up tool. You breathe once, slow exhale. You keep your face neutral. Okay. What time can you do it? Give me a real time. You're not hostile. You're not pleading. You're turning fog into a plan. They pause, then say, I'll do it at 9:10. You glance at the clock. That's 13 minutes away. Your nervous system wants to keep scanning for betrayal. This is where you practice staying clean. You don't hover. You don't glare. You don't punish with tone. You pick one small task that keeps you regulated. Maybe you wipe the counter. Maybe you put the leftovers away. Maybe you fill a water bottle. You keep your hands busy so your mind doesn't spiral. 9:10 comes. They're still on the couch. Old reactions flare again. Of course. The urge to get icy is right there. You can almost feel the cold sentence forming, don't worry, I'll just do everything like always. You don't say it. You follow up cleanly, with the simplest line, hey, 9:10. Are you getting up now? No lecture. No history. Just a moment. They get up. Maybe they move slowly. Maybe they're annoyed. But they move. And something important happens inside you. You didn't trade your dignity for compliance. You stayed direct. You stayed calm. You didn't become a detective or a judge. Later, you want a connection. You want to feel like you're on the same team, not just managing tasks. You feel the temptation to hint again, because asking for closeness feels vulnerable. But you do the clean bid. I want 10 minutes of us time, no phones. Are you up for that tonight? They say, after I finish this. Your body wants to interpret that as dismissal. Your old habit would punish, turn away, go cold, pretend you don't care. Instead, you stay in reality and make it concrete. Okay. What time, 9:30 or 10? They pick 9:45. It's not romantic. It's real. At 9:45, you sit together. Maybe it's not a perfect conversation. Maybe one of you is still tired and quiet. Maybe you only get 7 minutes before someone yawns or the day catches up. But the ending isn't completion, it's improvement. The air is clearer. You didn't poison the night with tests. You didn't build a secret case. You asked cleanly, followed up cleanly, and you went to bed with less tension in your chest, because even if everything isn't solved, you showed up. Why? Integrity. Reacting is when you hint, test, and punish, scattered, indirect, full of hidden meaning. Responding is when you ask clearly, follow up cleanly, and stay intentional even when the moment is imperfect. First, we started inside a real tension where you usually go indirect, and you used one sentence to stop hinting in real time. Then you learned a simple request structure, action plus a time window, so your need becomes something the other person can actually respond to. Next, you replaced its fine and sarcasm with a direct bid for support or connection, and you added a breath reset so your tone doesn't sabotage your words. Finally, you stress tested it under pressure and saw what durability looks like. You can ask, follow up, and stay warm without turning your pain into a weapon. Do these 3 steps today. 1. Write one recurring hint you use and convert it into one clean request with a time window. Can you underscore and the next underscore? 2. Use this exact bridge once today. Pause. I'm about to give a hint. Let me ask clearly, can you underscore? 3. Use this exact follow-up the next time you get a vague later. Okay. What time can you do it? Give me a real time. Watch next. The next layer is what to do when they say no without punishing or collapsing, with a title like Relationships, How to Hear No Without Turning Cold, because that's where calm strength becomes consistent. Subscribe for continued emotional control, not motivation, not drama, not mind games. Subscribe for more Stoic Focus Lab.